Alright boys, welcome back to another POI breakdown. If you're new here and this is the first time you're seeing my face, what we're going to do is probably revolutionary, and you probably haven't seen a video like this in a long time, or maybe not ever. It's a very in-depth breakdown. Now, getting straight into it without talking too much, you should be able to see on screen right now these three things below my face cam. We've got IGL, Fragger, Support. You obviously know what they mean. If not, they're roles, and there's separate videos you can find out like what each one of these roles represents. But in this case, what I'm going to do is, if I'm drawing blue lines, I'm talking about an IGL. If I'm drawing purple or pink lines, I'm talking about a Fragger. And if I'm drawing red lines, I'm obviously talking about Support. Now, there are the three things, like the three roles in a trio. And if you're watching this as a duo, make sure you pay attention to IGL and Fragger. And if you are watching as a solo, just pay attention to the IGL, okay? AKA the blue lines are going to be drawn. I'll explain it as I go along. I'm very good at doing this, boys. This is about my 10th run of doing these videos. I do have a playlist over on the channel, and I will link it at the end. So if this isn't the POI that you really want broken down, I'm sure there's going to be a POI in that playlist that I will link at the end. So make sure you do watch all the way through, man, because this will help you out. And it's just good to know as much as you can about every POI. And that's me. That's my job as a Fortnite coach, to put up all this information for free for you boys. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to get in depth. We're going to start talking about it, okay? I have the black marker out right now. You can see all the chests, okay? What we do, first of all, is split it up into kind of segments so it's easy to understand where I'm coming from. Because I am a very confusing person sometimes, so I need to draw this up. You have different routes you can run this as a trio, okay? So we're going to be talking about a trio off the rip. I might expand it and go straight into talking about duos and solos, but I usually do them separate in a weird way. You'll understand, trust me. I'll make sure that you don't get lost. That's a segment right there, okay? That's one segment you can run as a trio. And then the second segment you can run as a trio is usually these three buildings down here. Okay, nobody tends to land the center buildings. And if they do, it's because they're going for a W key fest. Or they're doing a different kind of route where they would do something like this, where it interlaps or overlaps with this one. So you can see that there's actual three routes you can do. That's about it for trios. There's three routes. And they're the three places you land. But I have a different kind of route that will... It's the most overpowered route, man. It's the most consistent, and you won't get as contested as hard, because you're going to get contested landing Holly Hedges. It's such a low-key spot that everyone's going to land here, especially during FNC. Yes, not everyone, but it's going to be contested. So what I mean by getting it as least contested as possible means landing buildings that don't get contested heavily, but still making them work. Because there's obviously a reason why people don't land in them buildings, and that's to do with them being shit, basically. But look, as a trio, and me as your coach, I can explain to you what I mean. We're going to pull out the... Well, I'll continue with black for a second, man. Right, I'll show you. And pull out my pen again. These are the three buildings we're going to focus on right here, okay? Is this building. Then we're going to focus on this building. Okay, this whole, I guess, segment. And this segment. Now, what this does is very, very overpowered, okay? Now, not a lot of people will understand what this means. Some of you might see it straight away. I seen it straight away when I understood it. What this does is gives you two exact routes. Now, like, it's very hard to explain, boys, but look, okay? See, what you have here is overpowered real estate, where you're putting yourself in a very weird position if this is heavy contested. You've gonna have a team over here, and you're gonna have a team here. Okay, more than likely, this is like the area you gotta worry about. There's no one gonna be coming from over here at you. So this whole flank is clean, okay? But when you have this diagonal, what you do is put yourself in a third-party position. So if you don't know how to play it right, that's why I want you to watch the whole way through, because if you don't understand how to play this right, you're going to get shit on. What this is two teams either side of you, more than likely Team 2 and Team 1, and you're going to be Team 3 in the middle. And I will break this down which role lands where, as in IGL landing what building, Fragger landing what building, and Support landing what building, and I'll explain to you why. But as of now, you have 1 and 2. Okay, so you could be potentially sandwiched between a trio. Trio up here and a trio down there. And how do you get out of this situation? Okay, that's the only downfall about this overpowered spot, this overpowered triple threat. You can land other buildings. They're not as overpowered as this. I'll show you why. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3. So 4 and 3 is 7 chests. Might not seem that overpowered. When I swap on the floor loot right now, look at all those floor loots. You're dominating by floor loot. Okay, because not all the times do the chest spawns. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is in Season 6. I don't think they're 100% chest spawns, but when you look at the floor loot, I know they're not 100% either, but you're getting more floor loot than any other trio runs. Look, you're getting 10. Well, I'm not even going to count them all up, man. I just know it's more because I did count them earlier. Now, with that said, you have the most overpowered loot route, and you're sandwiched in the middle. but it also gives you such an overpowered ability to bail. Okay, now by bailing, I don't mean just bitching out, but let's say you still have your two trios, right? I'm gonna do this a bit better right now. You still have your two trios. Let me get out. What's a dangerous looking color? Not green, anyway. I'll take out gray or some shit, man. I don't know. I'm trying to explain it great. Okay, we have a team here. We have a team here. Now, I'm going to pull out yellow. When you land, you own all this. Okay, so imagine it as real estate. The more buildings you own, the better it is for you because people can't get that loot. So you need to be very well communicated for this to work because it's such a wide split. When you look how close these two buildings are together, aka you could have two people land here and one land here. Now, when you look at where one lands over here, okay, and then three lands over here, not three players as in like 1, 2, 3. Okay, your first player, your second player, your third player. Look at the distance between them. That's a big gap. So if this guy is over here by himself and goes down, there's not really much a whole lot you can do. Now, it is overpowered though, man, and I need to get to the point because you boys are watching. So, you have the ability to rotate out so slickly because you have a, I don't know the word for it, but you have a follow-up thing. So when you boys are all here, you can play this team. You have the option to play this team if you're looting it fast. Because you guys are so split, you can loot like slower but get more loot. Because if there's 2 or 3 people in here, you're going to loot fast but all have shit loot. But when you're spread out like this and you know how to loot very, very efficiently, which I will tell you how to do, you're going to dominate, man, because you're going to get the loot up off the ground so far or so fast you can push whatever team you want. So let's say there's 2 teams. You can push this team first, and then you can push the second team. Very simple. And people will land like this in this rotation. I've done my research, boys. I've landed here a shit ton of times to figure this out. I can tell you that for a fact. But, okay, you can play that way. Or you can play a retreat way. What I mean by that now is, it's kind of confusing. Damn, I got rid of one of the boxes. But, look at this. Look at this, boys. Watch this. Still hear your legend, by the way. Most people would have clicked off and they're losing out on valuable information just because I'm slacking on telling it. You can push this way. See what I mean? All you boys are diagonally pushing this way. It's a build-up playstyle. So, let's say, for instance, your Fragger is out here. Now, he isn't in... I'm going to break it down in a minute, but just let me get to... Let's just say, for example, your Fragger's out here. Or, even better, Timmy's out here, Billy's in here, and Jimmy's here. Billy, Timmy, Jimmy. Okay? They're all Immy words, okay? Billy... I don't even know if that's Billy. Billy pushes to Jimmy, then 2 of these push to him to make a 3. So, Yemi, you boys can play a lineup. I know it seems super simple, but it's such a power play, boys. The way you can 1, 2, 3 attack. Yemi, there's 1 player here, 1 player here, 1 player here. So 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 1 = 3, and it's such an easy loot route, man. Just to build it up and attack it so aggressively. Now, it also does give you the ability to dip. Okay, so when I pull this out, you can play the opposite and go 1, 2, 3, and bail. So 1 moves to 2, 2 moves to 3, and then all 3 of you guys bail out one way. So you can play it backwards as well. You can bail out so many different ways. You can even pull a flank off. Even this guy here, let's say you know it's like less contested, like there's 2 over here, and let's say 1 guy landed over here because you've seen them drop. So you've got 2 people, and then 1 guy split so hard. So you can have this guy, because you want to dominate the 2 that are split. Okay, if there's 3v2, you want to take that. So you can get this guy to rotate all the way around behind. Depending on what building he is, he can go here, or he can keep rolling to this building, and you're going to have your boys on this building, and you can just take out, you know, this guy can go to one, and this guy can go to the other. So now it's a 2v1, this other guy is held in the building, and this guy is going to make his merry way over, but you still have high ground, because this is the highest point of the POI. So you're winning every way. Like, there's no possible way to lose with this route. Now that I have it explained and why I've chosen them buildings, I'm going to show you where and who and what. All them good questions are going to get answered right now. So, let me pull out my epic pen again. Pull out the blue. Your IGL is going to land. Let me get rid of some of these weapons for a second. You know there's a lot of weapons here, so you don't need to see that. We're going to keep the chests on. Your IGL, being blue, your IGL is going to land right here, okay? Your IGL needs to have all of this real estate unlocked. I know the blue might be a bit hard to see, but you can generally see where I'm writing it, yeah? I'm hoping. The reason why you want your IGL here is because he's in the dead center. And you can pick up, you can see them there, 1, 2, 3. There's a forklift here, 4, and there's a forklift here, 5. You can get 5 mechanical parts off the rip like that. And there's obviously cars around the front of the reboot van. So if nobody lands on this side, you can go straight in, get those cars, man. Even these cars over here, you just get stacked mechanical parts right here. It's not the most overpowered spot in the whole map to get mechanical parts, but if you think about it, all the most overpowered spots for mechanical parts are going to get contested because they're in videos labeled the best way to get mechanical parts. So everyone knows about them. But here it's a bit more low key, so you can take advantage of it. That people are just landing here because A, they're scuffed and they don't know where they're landing, or B, they are just trying to land at a low key spot. Not a lot of people get this spot down for some reason. It's a very overpowered spot, but they never truly understand it. So your IGL is going to land here, and obviously, boys, the blue circle within something means he lands here. So that might be a bit confusing for people who are new, because I might do something like this, for example. Your IGL pushes out and goes to this. Now, see the way there's no blue circle in there? It means he lands here, pushes up. As far as, like, some people might think, oh, I land here and push down. So the blue circle just means that's where he lands. Might be a bit confusing. I'm sorry if it is hard to see. It is a bit weird, man. It's never usually like that. But anyway, moving on to your fragger. You want to throw your fragger up here. He's going to get a lot of good loot because this is probably going to be the most contested building out of all of these because it has the most chests. That's why your IGL and your fragger are going to be good. You want to put your IGL in the middle of your two players in this scenario because if he gets contested, you want your IGL to push over to him. But this guy is going to get contested. Your fragger will get contested, but like I always say, the fragger is going to be the most mechanical player on the team, hopefully. Because that's his job, is to pick up kills. So if there's anyone on your team who's going to survive a 1v2 or a 1v3, the best odds should be in your fragger, man. And you want to give him as best chances as he can as winning that fight because you're giving him 3 chests. So it's a GG. And again, if he needs to dip, he can pull back to you. And then this guy can pull to you. So now you boys are like super close out of nowhere. Rather than if you do a trio split here, it's kind of whack, man. You won't get great loot. And dominating the most area of the map. Like, of the POI, look how much area you guys hold. You hold the whole dead center. Plus this, you guys own about a third of it. And mostly people will contest these buildings and just die off spawn anyway. So they're not going to contest shit, you know. Then, you're going to have your fragger, your support back here. You want your support back here tucked out away, to be honest, man. Because obviously your support is going to be a mechanical player and he's going to be half intelligent. Because if you die being the IGL, I'm not sure if you are the IGL of your squad, but if the IGL does die, at least your support, you know, can take over. But you want him out of the way, man, because it's not that he's not an important player. It's just you want him out of the way. Because if shit has to go down, you want your IGL beside your support, or beside your fragger, to give him what to do. Because fraggers tend to be a bit brain dead. Not fully brain dead, but it's not their job to be as smart as possible. They're focusing on improving mechanics every day. Whereas if the IGL, he does do his mechanical practice, don't get me wrong, in his aim training, but he should be doing what I do and looking for as much information as possible to advance his team and get them their IQ up, you know, and just carry all that information so the other teammates don't have to. So your IGL would want to be close to your frag as fast, like as often as possible, so that way they can accumulate as much information and as chemistry as possible. Okay, hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. You know, them two just need to be close together at all times because you don't want any things like stupid to happen. Now that I've fully broken down where you land, and obviously don't take the red dot and the dots as exactly where to land. You're just landing at that building. That's why I put that in there. I've had people mistake that before, so I don't want anyone else getting that mistake. Now what we're going to do is get rid of all of this because it does not matter. This video is 13 minutes long, so we're probably going to run for a bit longer because I want to give you boys the best information possible. And we're going to zoom out a bit, okay? I'm going to turn all the chests off. That should be zoomed out enough for you boys. I do have it a bit more zoomed in on my monitor or on my recording, so that way it's not blurry and shit, but I do have ads popping up on this website and it pisses me off, so that's why I zoom in a lot. But anyway, starting off with this is your rotation paths out of here. So you've got your holly hedges, okay? Nice little spot. But as far as rotations, you can pull so many different rotations off right now, boys. So many. Watch this. Now, blue meaning it's an okay, like it's the safest rotation possible. So it means if you're going to run into fights, blue is the least likely to run into fights. So if you're trying to play for them placement points in like the likes of FNCS and stuff, this is the way you'd want to rotate. You can, there's three main ways. Is down, like this. Okay, you can take the water if you want, but it's rotating down like that. Out to the water and around, and then up like that. Towards the wall. You want to pull around sweaty. Make sure you pull around sweaty. Don't cut in here because that's going to be for a different rotation. But if you pull upwards, you can pull in, use the water, go up even higher towards up here, you know what I mean, man? Up, you can go up higher, man, and just, it's free, okay? Free rotations. And you want to be playing edge zone, in my opinion. So, now that's out of the way, the ones that are a bit more of a threat to rotate with, these are going to be like ones that there's high potential that you can run into people, is like this. Okay, when you cut across zones like that, it's not the best, but there's a good chance you can run into people by pulling these rotations off. Even ones like that. So you'd be surprised between these two lines right here. You'd be surprised by how much of a difference that means. That means that this team could be pulling right up behind you, or Slurpee can come out from like a flank right behind you, rather than you creeping in behind Slurpee. Because at least if you play blue, blue has the option of keep rotating around or go in and come up behind them. But if you try and play purple and keep continuing on, you're just going to have Slurpee behind you. So that's why it's good to take, it's only an extra 30 seconds of a rotate to stay behind people. It's better being behind people because you're looking at their back or their ass, depending on if you're a pervert or not. But yeah, you're behind them and they're not behind you, because if they're behind you, they can see you and you can't see them. So being behind people and rotating late is good. It's good early game. But like I always say, man, zone 1 and 2 late, and then when you get into 3rd and 4th zone, get to center as possible, man, because it's you need to get that consistency. Anyway, I want to show the red lines. Red lines are kind of ones you want to, unless you're a psychopath and you really want a heavy W key, don't do this. So obviously you don't want to rotate straight into bony burbs. Okay, that's really the only one. And maybe sweaty, if you go dead into sweaty, and sweaty isn't as bad, but when you go straight into bony burbs, you're looking for kills. So as far as like, imagine green, or sorry, blue, pink, and red as in a level gauge. So green, blue means you're not going to run into anyone. Purple would be like if you want a couple kills maybe on the way, take that rotation. It's not the smartest, but it can get you a bit more kills. It doesn't give you as much awareness, but it can get you more kills. And then red, obviously meaning you should be only looking for kills if you're taking that pathway. And the only way you should take red if you're not looking for kills is if you really need to rotate, and that just happens to be a white line. That's all I can really say. You do lose the advantages of like wide rotations and stuff and staying on the edge of the map, which means less players. And overall, that's a better rotation. So I would stick to blue for placement. And then if you want to get a few kills, maybe pull off the pink ones. Try and avoid the red, man, especially if you're not trying to W key. If you are trying to W key, it's understandable. But I don't think you'd be landing holly hedges if you're trying to W key. Unless it's like a semi-W key game where you want to get consistent loot and then go ham mode. But as far as that, I don't have anything else to say, man. And look, if you're still here, I am going to pull up. You probably see them on screen right now, the two playlists. One is going to be a playlist. One's going to be a video you like. I don't know which side they're on. They're around here somewhere. But yeah, make sure you go and check out the playlist. And if this helped you, man, make sure you do hit that sub button. And again, if it is the end screen right now, click the center wolf logo and you should be able to sub through that. Appreciate it, man. I'm out of here. Thank you very much for your time.